With that out of the way, though, let's turn on the SLAS and absolutely accidentally hit that oh god, hit that space bar. Now that was a very, very unplanned launch. Alright then everybody, hello and welcome back to another episode on Kerbal Space Program with me, Spacefish, and welcome back to the Kerbal Space Center. Ever since the last episode, we are finally very much back on track to continue on our main missions in Kerbal Space Program after a few very annoying incidents, trying out some side missions with space planes in Kerbal atmosphere. We decided to kind of get back on track with these, and we do now have a mission to complete where we need to rendezvous two vessels in the orbit of the Moon, and, well, transfer an astronaut over from one vessel to another, then make our way back home to Kerbin to drop off the astronauts again. So that is what we are taking on at the moment, and we already have one rocket taken care of, happily orbiting the Moon, and now what is missing is the second rocket in orbit. So, what you can see right here on the launch pad is that we already have our beautiful, beautiful Moon Magic marker. Is it 3? I think it's 3 or 2, something like that, waiting on the launch pad to be launched into the skies of Kerbin and subsequently into Lunar orbit, and well, then we will transfer that thing over and transfer a Kerbalnaut from the other rocket in order to hopefully take care of our very mission today. So very much looking forward to that, but just quickly before we get going on this very launch, if you're new around here and if you happen to enjoy this episode, please make sure to smash that subscribe button right down below. That would mean the absolute world to me. We're currently on track to 1k subscribers and I need a little less than 400 at the moment. So yeah, every single one truly helps out a ton. Thank you so much if you did that. With that out of the way, though, let's turn on the SLAS and absolutely accidentally hit that oh god, hit that space bar. Now that was a very, very unplanned launch. I'm going to try and tilt this thing over as early as possible, as we previously did. We are, of course, very low throttle. Well, not really low enough throttle on the main engine, to be honest, because, well, I mean, the solid fuel boosters are going to easily take us up into space on their own, so no real need to waste too much liquid fuel there. We will do our little insertion burn here, try not go too fast, stay somewhat close to that orbital marker so the resistance from the atmosphere doesn't just push us over, and then we'll go for a nice little 45-degree angle here. Absolutely get a little hot. We are too fast, just saying, evidently. Hopefully we will not explode. We will nicely glide away from these guys, and then we will go and have an orbit point already. Wow, okay. We will maybe just cut off the engines there for a second, and 156,000 meters. That is a lot. We are unfortunately not quite on a perfect orbit on Kerbin here now, because I really hadn't planned to start that rocket there. I'm not going to lie, I mean, that was an absolute accident, I swear. We'll see. We'll work with this, and we'll probably just adjust our orbit a bit when we get to the Moon. Luckily, at least, we got to build up a good bit of transversal speed, and I somehow managed with all this stuff. Maybe I even fix it in Kerbal orbit. We will see. I don't think it's too important, as long as it's still somewhat equatorial. We can pretty alright get ourselves over to the Moon, I would hope. So let's see about that, everyone. Let's adjust that thing, just plan kind of where we want to go. Why am I still slightly burning? I don't know. And then we will plan for a little bit of a burn, which doesn't involve too much thrust. 157, 154, that is totally more than fine. We could probably even punch the accelerator a little less there if we really wanted to. That is... Let's turn on RCS here to kind of get to maneuver. That is quite the long burn. 1 minute 4 seconds, 986 meters a second. We've got 2,100 left in the rocket. Let's go and get onto that marker. Stabilize. And turn off RCS again. Beautiful. So, we will have to get going about, like, 31, 32 seconds ahead of the node then. And give it all we got, basically. Kind of just getting ourselves into orbit. We don't really, honestly, need that high of an orbit, though. Where's the moon at? We don't really need that high of an orbit, to be fair. Could save a bit of thrust. It's not going to do, like, that much for us anyways, given that we kind of have to go this way. We would waste some speed into a different direction, more or less. So, as long as we get into an orbit that gets us into space, sort of like that, maybe a bit higher. Say like 90k. Something like that should be totally fine. It's only a difference of 20 meters a second, though, so not like we saved much there. We tried. We tried our best. So the node is coming in a minute and 24 seconds. We will go and slightly speed time up, just very, very slowly and calmly and gracefully, not overdo things. And then we will thrust up there and just keep going like that. That should get us our orbit nice and beautifully, and we should have a ton of speed honestly left in the stage. Maybe this is also going to last us to the moon. I don't quite remember how it went the last time with the first rocket we sent over, but to the most of my memory, I think we had a good bit left there too. I'm not sure how much, but it was certainly rather efficient, our whole travel over to the moon. So hopefully this time around it should be rather efficient too. We'll see. I do have 400 meters a second still left to go. And then we will at least have this part of the journey complete, and then we'll be able to scheme out the rest. Maybe also have a quick peek over at the other rockets to see just how well things are going there in terms of our leftover Delta V. We're going to stop things here a bit and just kind of very slowly and gently get the rest taken care of. Make sure we stay close to that burn marker while we shave off the last few meters a second. And that should be good. 0.6 meters a second is a very acceptable tolerance in my mind. So, first things first, let's get rid of that maneuver node. We are now in beautiful orbit, and as you can see, I mean, we'll have to do like at least half of an orbit to get to any sort of point where we can burn over to the moon anyway, so we've got all the time in the world right now. Now, what I would like to do, switch to this thing real quick, is that is of course already in moon orbit, and we'll see. Okay, so we've got 130 meters a second left here in the main stage, 1829 on that one, which should probably be the same for the other one. I sort of thought I remembered 1629 for the other. No, not debris. We don't want to swap to the debris. As our solid fuel boosters, which will eventually just yeet back into the atmosphere, I suppose. What we actually want to do is go to this one, and we will have a look. So I'm not quite sure why this is not matching. I'm suspecting it is due to the additional weight of this stage currently being calculated in, because of course there's a lot more fuel weight still left, and that's a factor. So I guess that's a good thing, because technically on the other stage we will also then get even more meters a second when we get rid of like all the empty fuel tanks in the engine, so that should hopefully be quite good too. But let's go and plan on a bit of a transition burn then to the moon. We'll go and drag this out. This is not ideal, most definitely. We have to go sort of something more like this, I imagine. We'll go to a point where we at least... That's already... Yeah, okay, no. Let's pull that back in. Don't need to waste any speed there, and then we need to adjust. Maybe, I think... No. What did I just hit? I changed something that I didn't want to change. I'm not quite sure which part it was. But okay, so what we actually want to do is pull this over further to the left, because I think, yeah, so this here... So we start to get a lunar intersect with a periapsis of 1.8 mil, which of course is kind of slightly off, so we will need a bit more speed, I guess. There we go. See, that's sort of what we want. So this seems to be about the closest point that we can get with that amount of a burn. 216. Yeah, you can see that is actually being a bit of an issue, our current orbital shape. Because, like, the only reason that we have that far of a periapsis, I think, is because we're coming in that low. Actually, not really. Periapsis isn't looking too terrible, but why? Like this, 220. Okay, so if I was to burn some more, yeah, okay. We do need to burn a bit more. 47k would be this. Now, the actual question here being... Let's double check what we have going on here. The actual question being what sort of orbital height we have going on this thing. So we have a low of 33 and a high of 163. I think we just never adjusted this yet. Because we wanted to see where we come in the other one. Okay. So, I mean, if we can get something like 33 for a low point, that would be quite decent. Let's see about that. So, is that maneuver still there? It is. Good. I was kind of worried there for a second that we had to do everything again. So, we're at 47. That's 33. Spot on. Wow. Okay. 830 meters a second, which I would say is quite decent. Pretty close to what we did on the other craft, I would think, so that should be fine. We could probably just use some RCS, to be fair, but we've got all the time in the world, so I'm going to do this little alignment to our burn marker without RCS, because, well, you know, why in the world not? As long as we're not in a rush, the SAS is going to do just fine for us. Takes a bit longer, but we save that monopropellant for more pressing issues, I guess. So, that is that done. We've got 21 minutes 57 seconds till the node comes up, so let's go and fast forward this a good bit now. Get ourselves close to that node. I don't want to overspeed this. I'm always quite wary of warping past my burn points. Has happened to me countless times in the past, and you will very quickly find that that happens to you very easily in Kerbal Space Program if you don't watch out, so always kind of trying to not overdo things here. So you've got a burn time of 40 seconds, which means 20 seconds ahead of the node is when we are going to start. I'm going to stop us like 1 minute ahead though for the time being, so we've got a minute to properly realign. There we go, that is 1x, and we'll use RCS now. Make sure that we get everything done in time and very nice and precisely. With that little bit of RCS, boop, and we're spot on. Beautiful. Then we can go for a little bit of a speed up again. That should be fine, and we will wait the last 20 seconds like this, just honestly, so we don't accidentally boost past our burn window. Well, that's that already then. So here comes our little transfer window over to the moon. You can already see it coming up on the horizon there beautifully. We will go and hit Y, max speed, and on we go. Goodbye, Kerbin. See you later. We have got a job to take care of. So this thing, I'm just double checking, this thing does have space for 2 Kerbalnauts just before, you know, we do this entire mission, and then it turns out we don't even have the space to transfer them because I chose the wrong rocket model or something. That's a Mark II command pod though, so that should have space for 2, I hope. We'll see. Hopefully nothing bad is going to happen to us in terms of that. But that said, very nice and easy and straightforward burn. We'll do the same thing on the last few meters, you know, just kind of cut the engines here and just very slowly etch into that burn marker to get rid of the last few meters a second. Make sure we're matching our plans somewhat. Yeah, 0.1 meters a second, I think, is quite acceptable. So, that said then, gonna have to go get rid of that maneuver node again. And now we have our little... Wow. We are literally spot on. I'm not quite sure if it's to the meter, but it's certainly to the 1,000 meters, which is already quite the achievement, I would say. I'm very, very happy with that indeed. Anyways, though, let us go venture on towards the moon and get captured by it. We've got 369 meters a second remaining on the stage. Still less meters a second on that primary stage, which is very weird. Maybe due to the additional weight from the monopropellant tanks. I'm not sure if we had those on the first rocket. I may have forgotten those and put them on after the fact, so that could have cost us some speed, which, well, in the end it is what it is. The monopropellant is very much worth it and useful usually, and, well, hopefully that's going to be more than enough Delta V to take care of anything that we need. We shall certainly find out about that soon, but I'm quite sure that the last time we orbited the moon, we came in with a lot less Delta V left over, and with a lot of atmosphere braking and curving, we still managed to somewhat make it. So, fingers crossed that that shall happen to us once more. For the time being, let's speed onwards towards the moon and get captured by it and get into a nice orbit. Hopefully not too far from the orbit of the other spacecraft. That would, of course, be very nice and easy. Now, it did slow me down there. That is because we got captured by by the moon. And we are going to go and add a little maneuver here. So, let's go and close that orbit in. We're going to go and try, I think, for a... What am I doing here? Is this even... Yeah, no, this is going the proper way. Okay, we're going to go and try for a very similar orbit height to the other craft, which you can see does have a very different plane than our orbit, and is also not on the same height. So we'll probably have to close both in, to be honest, to manage doing a rendezvous, which is not going to be great, but it is what it is. So, well, apologies. Honestly, we could probably already consider getting this one to 33k flat, because anything else is not really going to be all too helpful for us anyways. So we're going to do that. 38, 37, 36, 30. Is this marker not perfectly in the periapsis? Not quite. That is better. 34, 32. 34, 33, okay, that should be kind of the way to go. 33.8, 33.1, 33.1, 33.5. Oh, that was too far. Something a little like that. 300 meters of variance, I think, is quite doable. And then we will have to kind of also adjust the shapes of our orbits, because, I mean, you can see the difference in the plane. That's going to be a whole lot of work to get rid of that, and then we will need to have enough speed to come back to Kerbin. So it's still going to be tight. There's going to be a lot of maneuvering involved here, and hopefully we are overall going to be fine. You know, the first time we did this with an unmanned vessel, of course, we had a lot more options there. Why can I not turn on and off my SAS? Hello? Valentina? You good in there? SAS? RCS? Control? I cannot control this very rocket as of right now. She was a pilot, right? Yeah. Oh, we're still fast forwarding. I was really getting worried right there, I have to say. But yeah, so the first time we, of course, did this with an unmanned craft, it was quite easy, because, you know, the unmanned craft you can just leave there and never ever care about it again. The Kerbals don't really want to leave them there, so yeah, that'll be a bit more of a difficult one, because we'll need to manage the Delta V somewhat in a way that both craft are going to make it back, which, you know, with atmospheric braking and all, is hopefully going to be somewhat doable, but still. It's going to be a tight one. Anyways, we will move to our little marker right here, just like that, and then we can kind of move on, because we've got another hour and 23 minutes till that actually happens. So let's go and speed time up once more to 1000x for now, then down, no, not quite, now down to 100x when we're at 19 minutes. And there we go, 10 minutes, 9. We're going to stop at, like, let's say a minute 30, give ourselves a bit of time, I guess. Slow things down very nicely. Got 5 minutes to go here. And... oh, going to be on the dark side of the moon for that maneuver, it seems. But yeah, so we're going to close that thing right in. Then we're going to need to adjust the orbit of the other craft. And then, well, one craft or the other, whichever one has like even a sliver more Delta V remaining, is going to have to adjust its orbit to that of the first craft. Or we just adjust both orbits a bit. Could also work. I don't know. We'll see about that. Now, this RCS has to kind of help us somewhat get on point there. There we go. And then we're kind of good to go. 266 meters a second remaining, so we'll have 110. So I would say that, honestly, we've been more efficient with this craft than the other, because the other craft has got, like, 130k wider of an orbit and only 20 meters a second more. Maybe it's just because moon of gravity is that low that, honestly, we'll only need 20 meters a second there as well to close things in. I'm not sure, but, well, we'll see about that when we get to the other craft, because we will definitely have to take care of that orbit in a minute anyways. Now, first things first, hello Moon, you're absolutely beautiful, as usual. Loving the view. We are going to slightly speed things up, and we've got 11 seconds of a burn timer, so we start at, like, 5 to 6 seconds, basically. Going to be a tight one to hit. Especially since we're still not perfectly on target. There we go. That was between 5 and 6 seconds, very accurately, I would say. And we will do the same thing as per usual. So we will go and cut the engines here. And very slowly etch towards that last bit of meters a second. Make sure. Oh, we turn on our ICS as well, maybe. The issue with the RCS actually being that it slightly affects our orbit using that, so... ever so slightly, really minutely, but, you know, we do want to be as perfectly spot on as we can, so... ooh! 0.0 meters a second, everyone! That is a very accurate one, isn't it? I hope you're proud of me. Exactly, well, pretty much exactly made the burn marker. The altitudes are looking very, very fine indeed. Quite happy with that. So... that maneuver is over and done with. Now we're going to go move on to... no, not this one. Warp here? This one. We're going to move on to that very moon of magic. Could I... thank you. We're going to switch to that one. And we will go... there's the moon. I was already wondering where it had gone. We will go and close in this orbit too. So we will... well, we're actually pretty close to the periapsis already, which is a good thing. We will go and close that one in. Need to make sure to keep this as close to that height as possible too. So 33,946 is about the thing that we're shooting for. It's 34,151. So we're pretty accurately on the marker already there. I would like to, however... be even more accurately on the marker, ideally. That is pretty good, honestly. 92 and 812. I mean, that's like 100 meters apart on the orbit again. So we're going to plan like that. Yeah, as you can see, we don't have monopropellant fuel tanks on this thing. That's probably part of the reason why this has more Delta V in it than the other one. Because, of course, the monopropellant fuel tanks do... use some, well, not use some weight, but they generate some weight, which in turn means that we have less Delta V in the rocket overall. So that's also going to be an interesting point, because now we kind of go below the Delta V of the other rocket on that stage. As you can see, 54 meters a second, we'll have 80 left. I think we've got 110 on the other. But, on the other hand side, our second well, our second rocket, or is it our third? It's kind of our third rocket stage now. It has like 130 meters a second more in Delta V than the other. So maybe this one will be the one that we need to use to adjust our pains in the end. We'll kind of find out about that one, I suppose. Now what we do is we warp to the periapsis, it is, and make sure it's 2 seconds of a burn, so it should be done in no time. We will kind of go down to 1 minute again. Make sure to readjust our orbit. No, not our orbit, but our alignment, rather. One last time, just like that. Beautiful. And that will literally just be rocket on, rocket off, and then kind of adjust the last few meters a second as per usual. So, we will slightly time warp to about here. That's fine, 10 seconds. And then we will go and... well, it's literally just at 1 second, right? On, off, and slightly adjust. .0 meters a second again. Guys, honestly, you have to be proud of me this episode. I'm literally spot on hitting those navigation markers. You have to be proud of me for that one. Come on. Okay, well, that is the orbits then closed in on both of the craft. Next episode, we will have to go and take care of aligning the orbital planes of both of these rockets, and then, well, use one or the other to slightly kind of extend the orbit on one side, so, or, well, make it smaller, basically, depending on where the rockets are at, and we will make sure to bring those two rockets together, have a rendezvous, have the one Kerbal hop over from one craft into the other, so we get that mission taken care of, and then we need to bring them all back as well. So, a lot of things still at our hands there, but overall, I think we're pretty well set, and we're pretty good to go for the time being. Quite happy with where we're at, and hopefully we'll get that mission taken care of in the next episode then, and bring everyone back home safely. But for today, I'm going to have to end it off right here. I hope you all enjoyed the episode though, and I hope you're all very proud of me for those 2 0 meters a second orbital markers. If you are, make sure to hit that like button right down below. That does always help out a ton with the video performance. And if you're new around here and haven't done so just yet, definitely also make sure to smash that subscribe button right down below, as well as that bell icon right next to it, in order to stay up to date on all the future upcoming episodes. But with all that out of the way then, as usual everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will catch you in the next one very, very soon. Ciao.